So a couple of days ago, I asked in the group, what sort of things do you want me to cover over the next few weeks when it comes to content? And one of the biggest ones that came back was finance. Hi, I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel. I think it's one of the biggest hurdles for investors. Number one is finding deals, and number two is raising finance. And they are really big hurdles for people to get through, and they're barriers. Now, first of all, there are loads of deals out there. There are loads at the moment. And secondly, there is loads of money out there as well. So there are a few things I want to talk about. Now, this list is just the highlights of the things that I want you to concentrate on how you can raise finance to purchase property and how you can raise finance to do refurbishments on property. So there's a couple of, aside from the obvious, so aside from mortgages and aside from bridging loans, these are the things that I think you should concentrate on most. So number one, there's something called asset finance. I'm going to call that AF, I'm going to abbreviate it. Asset finance is quite a new strategy. Now, there are only a few companies out there doing it. And as part of our group, you automatically qualify to apply for asset finance. Now, we work with a company called Coolbone Finance. And each of our students get to apply for up to £50,000 to use towards a refurbishment on a rent-to-rent or a purchase lease option. Now, you can get pre-authorised for £50,000. You don't need to draw the money down, but you know that you've got that money in the bank, and then you can go out and start looking for deals. Now, this is phenomenal. Now, if you don't already know about this, and if you are interested, then let me know, tag me in the comments below, because what will happen is you'll go through a qualifying process with the company, and if you qualify, they will say, yes, you can have 10, 20, 30, 40, £50,000. So off you go and start looking for deals. So then you can go out and start looking for rent-to-rents and looking for purchase lease options. Now, the great thing is that this is paid off over time. So you don't pay just interest and then a lump sum at the end. You pay it off over time. Now, the interest rate is quite high, but it's also tax efficient because it's asset finance for leasing. So this is designed for you to be able to lease your furniture and white goods. Now, that's one of the biggest expenses when it comes to converting a property into a HMO specifically. Furniture and white goods can come to a lot of money. So you can go out and look for HMO properties on rent-to-rents and on lease options, even if you know that you've got no money in the bank right now, but you've got pre-authorization for £50,000, and that will enable you to decorate your property. You can even buy paint on it. So you can decorate your property, you can furnish your property, and you can put your white goods into your property with this money. Now, this will need to be paid back on a monthly basis. Now, the interest rate will obviously depend on how much money that you're borrowing, but it's paid back monthly. You don't own the furniture, you don't own the white goods. So anything you purchased using this pot is not owned by you, it's owned by the company. So at the end of the deal, you have a choice. So after the 3 years is up, because it's usually 3 or 5 years, depending on your agreement with the company, you either give the goods back or for a very small balloon payment. And when I say small, I mean very small, less than £100, you can buy yourself out of the agreement and own the product. So this is an absolutely amazing way to get started. But you've got to remember that the monthly payments will come off your profit. So you've got to stack the deal to include the monthly payments. And if it's still worth it for you, then you can go ahead. If it's not worth it, then of course your deal isn't going to be strong enough, so you can't. Now you can even use this for purchase lease option payments. When I say payments, the option payment. So if you have an option payment of £1,000 that you are having to give the vendor for the consideration of the option agreement, then you can use it for that as well. So it's a great way to get started, folks, okay? It's not the cheapest, but if you've got a deal that's really strong and it really stacks. Now, you might, for £50,000, you might get away with having just to put £7,000 or £8,000 into a rent-to-rent deal just to bring it to life a little bit and replace the furniture. So potentially, you could get 5 rent-to-rent deals by using that one pot of cash using asset finance. Does that sound interesting? It's quite new, and if you are interested, you must let me know, and I will put you with Simon together, and you can have a conversation to see if you qualify. Lots of our students are using this at the moment. So that's number 1, asset finance. Now, number 2, we're going to talk about angel investors. Angel investors. What is an angel investor? Well, somebody that lends you money. Simple as that. So this is a cash loan. Now, it's not secured. It's an unsecured loan. So this is where somebody, either a family member or somebody you've met in your network or somebody that you work with, a work colleague, has got a sum of money and they're not earning a lot in the bank at the moment. In fact, they're probably earning that much. And you could offer 5-6% interest paid monthly, and then you pay the sum that you borrowed at the end of the deal. So this is not regulated under the FCA because it's a fixed rate. So you don't need to have any certification, okay? You don't need it. Cross that out. Because it's a cash loan on a fixed return. So for example, we're going to pay 5% as a fixed term. So what we will do is we'll borrow whatever money that you've agreed to. So let's say £10,000 over 2 years. So every month we'll be paying 5% back. And at the end of the 2 years, we're going to repay the full amount. But how are you going to get this 10K? Now, that's what you need to be aware of, because 2 or 3 years' time will go really quickly. And whilst you've serviced the 5% every month, you've got to have a plan to pay this back. So that could come from the cash flow, if it's strong enough. But make sure that you do put it to one side and you don't spend it on anything else, because you do need to pay it back. Now, angel investors, you can't use their money to put down on deposits for property. If you're purchasing a property, the deposit money will usually need to be unencumbered. And that's where we can have a joint venture partner. Now, a joint venture partner and an angel investor are 2 very different things, because a joint venture partner is usually an equity partner, which means that they will have shares in the deal. If it's a limited company, shares in the company. So a joint venture partner might, we'll talk about how to find them in a minute, but they might say, well, I've got £100,000, let's go and set up a limited company or an SPV. We'll talk about that on another workshop. And what we'll do is I'll put the money into the company as a loan. The company then can go out and purchase a property. We'll do the property up, we'll refurbish it, and then we'll refinance it, and then the profit will go back into the company, and then I'll take my money back out. So that means the company now owns a house, and joint venture partner is a 50% shareholder. That makes sense. And that generally is the way that we do our joint venture partner agreements. So we'll set a company up, we'll have equal shareholders, and we'll go through that format. Now, generally speaking, we will go out and we will find the deal. So we'll go out and we'll look for the deal. We'll do all the hard work. We'll go through planning permission. We'll get listed buildings consent if it's needed. We'll do building regs, and we will populate the property and manage the tenants. Our joint venture partner, they've just put the money in. So the share split is even, because we're doing all the work and they've made a great return as well. Now, they might want to get involved in the property. They may very well want to get involved in all aspects. And that's fine. If they want to do that, then that's absolutely no problem, because they can earn and learn at the same time. So joint venture partnerships work really well, and you know, hopefully the business will generate enough money to pay them back. Now, it depends on what your joint venture partner is looking for. Are they looking to get their money back out, or do they just want a good return and dividends? So you'll need to find out what their motivation is. And if they want their money back, then we'll hopefully, over time, the property that we're buying in the company name using their money will go up in value, which will enable us to refinance and get their money back out of the deal. So there's a couple of things you need to be aware of. Whilst you don't need to be FCA regulated for an angel investor, because that's a fixed rate of return, joint venture partners that are on an equity share, and shares can go up and down in value, then you will need to make sure that they are certified either as a sophisticated investor or a high net worth individual, because this is regulated. And I'm going to explain to you now what a sophisticated investor is and what a high net worth individual is. A sophisticated investor is somebody that is a member of a network or syndicate of business angels and have been so for at least the last 6 months prior to the date that they are signing their certificate. They've made more than one investment in an unlisted company in the last 2 years prior to the date, and they are working or have worked in the last 2 years prior to the date below in a professional capacity in the private equity sector or in the provision of finance for small and medium enterprises. They are currently, or have been in the last 2 years prior to the date below, a director of a company with an annual turnover of at least £1 million. And then there's a disclaimer here that says that I accept that the investments to which the promotions will relate may expose me to a significant risk of losing all of the money or other property invested. I am aware that it is open to me to seek advice from someone who specialises in advising a non-mainstream pooled investment. Easy. A high net worth individual is somebody that has an annual income to the value of 100k or more. An annual income for these purposes does not include money withdrawn from pension savings, except where the withdrawals are used directly for income retirement, and or held throughout the financial year immediately preceding the date below of net assets to the value of £250,000 or more. Now, that sounds a little bit complicated, but it isn't. Now, you can either refer your joint venture partner to a financial advisor, and they will talk to them over the phone, and they will certify them for you. When I say certify them, they will actually give them a certificate to say that they are either a high net worth individual or a sophisticated investor. And that just covers you to say that if in the future your joint venture partner comes back to you and says, you picked on me, I wasn't in the right mindset, I'm not very happy with what you've done. So, well, hang on, we've got a certificate here that says you were. Now, you don't have to use a financial advisor. Your joint venture partners can self-certify, and there are certificates available on the internet, readily available for your investor just to sign and self-certify. So that's the ins and outs of joint venture partner, angel investors with equity and equity partners. Where do we find these people? Where do we find angel investors? Where do we find joint venture partners? They are everywhere. Everywhere. They are everywhere. The best place to find investors is absolutely 100% from your network. Now, your network could mean family members. It could mean your business colleagues. It could mean friends. They're all part of your network. Now, all of my joint venture partners over the years have come from my network. It's just about making sure that you are putting yourself out there as much as possible. So are you doing that? Are you networking? If you are, great. When you network, do you have a pitch? Now, I'm going to do some workshops on pitch. Do you have a pitch? That's where you would give them the opportunity to say why you're there, what you're looking for. Have it ready. Now, most networking providers don't allow you to pitch for money, but you can stand up and say something like, "Hi, my name is Rick Gannon and I'm a local investor and currently I'm working on an amazing project that we suspect is going to be a no money left in deal. If you're interested in learning more and how you can get no money left in deals, come and talk to me at the break." Something like that. So I've said what I'm doing and how I can benefit somebody else. So you need to work on your pitch. Number 3, do you have a profile? And this is so important. People actually don't think it's that important, but it's massively important. If you're looking to attract people, you need to, like peacocks do with their feathers, you need to get those feathers out and ruffle up. And if you've not got a profile, and if you're not showcasing what you're doing, how will people know whether or not they're looking to invest in you? So you need a profile. And that means you've got to do things like Facebook profiling. You need a Facebook page. You need to be going into Facebook groups. And the same with LinkedIn. And the same with Instagram, etc. Because you are what Google says you are. So I want you to do a little exercise, folks, okay? I want you to go on to Google and I want you to search your name and just see what comes back. Because if you put yourself in the mindset of a potential investor and they look for you on Google or you're looking for them on Google and nothing comes back, how does that make you feel? Are you credible? So you need to make sure that you've got a profile, and that will include a website with some kind of form capture so that it will enable someone to type in their details and then they will come to you so you can use that then to contact them back. So you need social media presence, a website presence. You need to go to networking meetings and you need to network your butt off. And you need to tell people what it is that you're looking for. So how does the whole structure work? Do we need the deal first? Do we need the partner first? Is it the chicken or is it the egg? It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. I think personally, I would start working on now finding investors and then continuing to look for deals. So start with your family, start with your friends, tell everybody what you do, and just say, look, if you're looking for a great return on your investment, property at the moment could even give you an infinite return. There are so many deals out there. So start looking for friends with your friends. Don't look for friends, family, and then go to your network and then start to make sure that you're profiling. Now, I'm going to end on this. Now, it's not just about the money. Now, that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it's more about building relationships. Because if you're going to go into business and you're going to build a business with somebody else, then you need to make sure that you've got a relationship with that person that works. You need to make sure you've got the right values. You need to make sure you've got the right exit plan. You need to make sure you can have fun together. You need to make sure that they are credible as much as you are. So there's a long process that we would go through when it comes to working with joint venture partners. And that would look like this. You start with your website, your social media, and your networking, and you start to bring people into your community. And then when somebody contacts you, at that point, you need to start building that relationship. It's almost like courting. It really is, because you need to know that you can work with them. And then you just, over time, expand that relationship. And I would do it like this. So I would, first of all, have a chat with them on Zoom. Make sure that you're aware of what they're looking for. Are they looking for a return only? Are they looking to lock their money in? Are they looking for equity? What do they want? If that's in line with what you want, then you could perhaps meet for a face-to-face coffee. So meet for a face-to-face and give them your proposal in writing. Now, we've got a program coming up, and it's about joint venture packs, and we help you create a joint venture partner pack to give to people to help them understand what you are about. Now, watch out for those workshops, they're coming soon. So once you've had that coffee with them, you've established what they're looking for, then you need to grow that relationship. Now, that could mean you going to their house for coffee next, or you inviting them to your house for coffee, and then start to go on viewings together. Invite them to viewings, and all that time you're working on building that relationship and getting a good indication on whether you're going to get on together in the future. And once you're happy in the knowledge that you can work with them, you can have fun, you've got an exit plan together, you've got similar values, you've done your due diligence on them, you've checked their credit score, you make sure they've got no criminal record, and you're quite happy to move forwards, you've signed all the sophisticated investor certificates, then you can go into business together. But I do know that the people that don't follow this, and they just say, yeah, give me your money, and then within a week they're partners, most of the time those businesses will fail. So I hope that was useful. Quite a lot of content to cover there. Now, moving forwards, I am designing a VIP property business in a box, and it's a whole walkthrough strategy from setting up your business with a company SIT code all the way through to how to find property working with partners. Now, that is a big workshop. Okay, it's going to take me a long time to put together, but that will form part of what we've done today will form some of that as well. So I hope that's useful. Let me know your comments, and let me know if there's anything you don't understand, and then we can have a chat about it and I can help and guide you move forwards. See you on the next one. Hi, I'm Gannon. Welcome back to my channel.